Welcome to YachtPo's destination online event, UpWest and the Need to Know Thy Customer. My name is Erica Quay, and I'm a product marketing manager at YachtPo. We have a great discussion coming up with Luke Opliger, Director of Marketing and Creative at UpWest, about the quest to understand your ideal shoppers. But first, I'm going to talk about 2022. That's right. I know it's hard to believe, but 2022 is almost here, and that means it's time for our annual predictions. Every year, YachtPo compiles a list of insights about how e-commerce will change in the coming year. It's a great opportunity for brands to hear directly from industry experts about how they should prepare or adjust their strategies to stay ahead of the game. We're actually releasing our 2022 predictions tomorrow, but because you're all with us today, we have a little surprise. You're getting an advanced look at some of our top insights right now. Are you ready? So first things first, 2021 brought about a lot of change, and we'll 100% see the repercussions of that in 2022. New privacy regulations, rising acquisition costs, and higher consumer expectations have laid the groundwork for some big changes for the better in 2022. I'm going to share some highlights with you today, but make sure to check your email tomorrow for a link to the full report. So let's jump in. Our first prediction is that brands will invest in a value exchange with customers. With iOS privacy changes and the depreciation of the cookie, acquisition and personalization marketing tactics have taken a hit. It's harder than ever to target the right audience and optimize their experience with your brand using third-party data. So how will brands drive growth in sustainable ways in 2022? They will come to view data as a value exchange. According to a YachtPo survey, 44% of brands already believe that first and zero-party data is more valuable than data from cookies. And in order to get that useful data, brands will have to make it worth it for customers. To do that, brands will provide value to customers like superior customer service, loyalty rewards, personalized recommendations, advanced access, and more. We asked our friends at Admiral about what strategies brands can implement to better collect this data, and according to Gavin Flood, the key is to include selling experiences that ask for customer input, direct contacts such as email and text, and post-purchase experiences like reviews. And according to Erica Ritchie-Fontes at Snow Home, all of this will actually yield better brand building and stronger relationships with customers. So really, the answer to privacy challenges is doubling down on the things that customers care about and giving them a reason to organically choose you. That leads us to prediction number 2. Brands will use SMS marketing to collect first-party data. We already know that brands will continue to grow their investment in mobile channels as a way to optimize shopping experiences for their mobile customers. That's been a trend for a while now. But privacy changes are really pushing the mobile conversation towards SMS in particular. iOS 15 email changes are the main culprit since they impact visibility into metrics for 30 to 50% of a brand's email list. But the iOS audience is also a very mobile audience, and SMS marketing is already adapted to the mobile-first, customer-first, privacy-first reality of Apple's changes. So it's the perfect way for brands to continue to learn about and effectively engage mobile consumers as privacy policies tighten. Brands will increasingly use SMS marketing to collect information about customer behavior and purchase history, but also gain access to data that customers share willingly and proactively through interactive SMS experiences. And in fact, our brands are already doing that, as Tyler Prone at Parks Project has shared with us. Our third prediction is brands will have to be everywhere for their customers. As our partner Samantha Tepper at Assembly succinctly puts it, if your brand isn't everywhere, then you'll lose to a brand that is. According to McKinsey, over 53% of consumers plan to do a mix of online and offline shopping in 2022, and more than 65% are trying different shopping behaviors too. Think waiting in line and shopping online at the same time, or browsing on your site before walking into purchase. Brands will look for more ways to improve the connection between online and offline, like making it easy to access account information and loyalty status when in store. But it goes beyond online offline too. Shoppers expect you to be everywhere, including on social media. Shopping has become an increasingly passive and constant activity, and making a purchase is now a more serendipitous action than a predetermined decision. According to Adweek, nearly half of TikTok users have made a purchase after seeing a product or service advertised there. Half of millennials said they purchased something from a brand after seeing it on Instagram. And the average amount spent by a social buyer will double between 2020 and 2025, according to eMarketer. In short, social will be huge. And in 2022, brands will look to make the social commerce experience even easier, especially through in-app shopping. We expect TikTok in particular to take off. Partner Casey Murray at Coley believes the platform will give brands far better return on ad spend compared to competitors in 2022. Our fourth prediction is brands will redefine subscriptions to prioritize membership. 2021 was the year that subscriptions went mainstream, and in 2022, brands will focus on delivering a positive subscriber experience to differentiate themselves from their competitors. Our partner Jay Myers at Bold Commerce believes that subscriptions will be redefined to prioritize a more emotional strategy, membership. It boils down to using the language that builds relationships rather than the language and feeling of a transaction. While a subscription is a billing decision that gives customers access to a product or a service, a membership means being a member of a store, an organization, or a group. It's a belonging decision, according to Myers. The way to do this: create more value, control, and options for your subscriptions. According to Ralph Robertson at Order Groove, subscribers last 135% longer when they can skip an order and 71% longer when they can swap a product. And let's not forget that subscriptions are yet another extension of rewards programs, since they combine the loyalty tactics of recurring revenue and brand engagement. Our fifth and final prediction is emotional loyalty will be the foundation for retention. E-commerce brands will double down on more than their investment in loyalty. They'll double down on building the emotional connections that are foundational to retention. That's not only essential for winning customers from competitors, but it's also a bare minimum requirement for brands looking to collect data from customers. While you can make a customer feel emotionally connected while making a purchase, it'll be important to think about the touch points in between too. Building emotional loyalty involves forming storylines, crafting journeys, and creating more organic and deeper reasons why they would choose to deliberately spend those few extra moments with you and the experience you provide. So as you can see, all the big trends for 2022 stem from this pull that brands are feeling to strengthen their relationship with their customers, and we're here for it. And speaking of customers, we have an incredible session coming up with Luke Opliger from UpWest about why it's so essential to truly know your customers. But before Luke and Shirley hop on, I want to quickly encourage everyone to share your thoughts in the live chat panel to the right of your screen, or post to social media. Make sure to use the hashtag DSTND2C, and tag us at Yapo so we can reshare. Now over to you, Shirley.
Hi, I'm Shirley Sue, one of the Enterprise Client Success Managers here at Yapo. I am extremely excited to introduce to you our guest today, Luke Oplinger, Director of Marketing and Creative at UpWest. Today, we're going to talk about understanding customers, building relationships, and looking ahead to the new year, 2022. Welcome, Luke. Thank you for joining us today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Also, congratulations on pronouncing my last name correctly. That is not something that's easy to do. So well done.
I appreciate it. I was like, let me go for it. Gut feeling always works well.
Nice.
Awesome.
Starting strong.
So tell us a little bit about UpWest brand as a brand and who your shoppers are. What's the mission, and what does your core customer base look like?
Yeah, it's a great question. Really, UpWest is fairly new. So we've been around since Q4 of 2019. And we all kind of went through that weird year of 2020 together. was actually our first year in business. So imagine saying, let's launch a business in the weirdest year in history, probably. And for us, it was, let's really start with purpose. UpWest is a purpose-driven brand. And our purpose is to provide comfort. So we do that primarily through our clothes. So I'm wearing UpWest right now. You can see how comfy it looks. So it's really nice, sweaters, sweatshirts, loungewear, sets, dresses, but everything is done through the lens of comfort. So although it might just be, kind of your basics, they're done so thoughtfully. The design is done so well. The fabrics, everything about it is really meant for comfort. And so for us, we said, okay, if comfort is our core, how do we branch out from there? What if every piece of content we created provided comfort? What if every partner we worked with provided comfort? And we didn't stop there. We said, what if we actually gave a % of our sales up to $1 million away every year to provide comfort to those in need? So it just kind of goes on. And for us, this is the tip of the iceberg. We're just getting started. We want to keep going to provide more and more comfort.
Awesome. And one of the things that I know is also pretty important to UpWest is sustainability and also pride to your consumers. And so I love the motto of progress over perfection. Feels very relatable, very human, especially kind of where we're headed right into 2022. And so I wonder if that honesty and transparency into your sustainability journey has a positive impact on your relationship with your customers.
Absolutely. Yeah. Authenticity is really key for us. It's really key in any relationship, and any marketer worth their salt is saying authenticity is important because it's about a relationship with the customer. It's funny. I'm a Netflix subscriber, like probably most of the world. And I got an email from Netflix the other day that said, the subject line said, your account is on hold. And then I opened up the email, and it was kind of in like weird lettering and weird fonts. And I was like, hold on a second. This doesn't feel real, right? This feels like, it feels like I'm being scammed. And luckily I didn't respond or put in my bank information because it was a phishing scheme.
Wow.
And I think for us, we know that the modern consumer is savvy. We know that not just branding and marketing, but hackers and other people are trying to come at us each day. And if we're not 100% authentic, then we're going to get called out on the rug. And especially with younger consumers. So you had asked about who our core customer is as well. And really for us, we started off thinking, okay, it's probably a demographic. Maybe it's 25 to 35-year-olds. Maybe it's skewing more female. Maybe it's, they live in bigger cities. And we kind of had our laundry list. And I think some of that has come true. We validated a lot of that. But really what's come to light is it's more of a lifestyle. It doesn't matter if you're 25 or 65. If you're seeking comfortable clothes, if you're seeking comfort, then we want to be there. The other thing I'll share about our customer is that they're very values driven. They care about the environment. They care about sustainability. They care about companies that do more than just sell products. And so we came to the table and said, you know what? We as people, we as business leaders, we as brand leaders, we care about those things too. And we want to do that and bring that to market. So sustainability, as you mentioned, is really a big part of what we're doing. And sustainability is a tricky one because it's really impossible to say, hey, we're 100% sustainable, and we all try our best. And I think when we examined our own lives, I think the most growth that I've had personally has been when I've stopped doing things. So maybe I've stopped using single plastics as much, or I've stopped, making certain choices in life. And then when we start doing things, like eventually I would love to own an electric car. Mm-hmm. And, it costs a little bit more. So I got to save up in the piggy bank. But you start doing certain things, stop doing other things. For us, what we've done is we've started to use more fabrics that are sustainable. So sustainable blends that allow us, and really innovative products like hemp. So we're using hemp in a lot of our clothes. And it's one of those things where you think, okay, this is a pretty simple concept, but done over time, done season over season, it starts to build up, which is exciting.
Awesome. Yeah. So it really speaks to this whole progress or perfection, right? Like you said, it's not 100% from the get-go, but it's how can we add in different pieces season over season, right? Maybe getting some feedback from your customers, knowing what it is that your customers actually want. And so how is it that, with some of the changes that we're seeing, right, especially on the privacy side, the data side, right, as you mentioned earlier with your anecdote, with the phishing scheme, has your approach to how you're engaging with your customers changed at all, and like how you're thinking about that for next year?
Yeah, absolutely. There was the big fight, Tim Cook versus Mark Zuckerberg, the kind of revenge of the nerds that happened. And they said, who really owns privacy? And we know Mr. Cook won out at least this round. We'll see what happens with the metaverse and what Mark can do. But for us, it used to be, hey, we can work with Facebook, we can work with Instagram, we can kind of follow people around the internet based on their cookies. And now with the power going to consumers, which I do think is a really good move, as a consumer, I feel like, okay, I'm feeling a bit more protected now. I'm feeling like I have a choice on who follows me and what I'm telling the internet. And for us, we had to really say, okay, how do we pivot? How do we really become more intentional with our consumers? So we started to do more surveying. So we've surveyed our customers and just asked them really simple questions. What's your favorite part about UpWest? What are things that you would change? If you're not shopping with us, who else are you shopping with? You're really kind of getting to the heart of it. And then even from a sustainability standpoint, we said, hey, do you care about sustainability? We think you do. Do you care? And also, are you willing to pay a little bit more, right? Because there is a cost to sustainability. So we started to hear some of those answers back. I think the other thing for us is we're always looking for tools and methods that allow a two-way conversation. So that could be on social media, that could be with the reviews and ratings we have on our site. There's a couple of different ways in which we get feedback from our customers, and we're all ears when we hear from our customers.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really great to hear. And like surveys are great. I know that the reviews, right, that you're collecting from your customers is a great feedback loop. And so, at Yapo, we believe that one of the goals of knowing your customers is creating a stronger relationship. And it sounds like that's what you're already doing. What are some other ways that you're building on top of this relationship, right? Once you're gathering this data from your customers, right, directly from them, how is it that your team's using this data to make business decisions, whether it's, for the products, for your mission, for maybe even some of the initiatives, or like how you're giving back to community? We'd love to learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it's a great question. I'd love to unpack that. Really for us, when we hear from our customers, Yapo does a great job of helping us not only hear from individual customers, but to really see trends at scale. So we can aggregate if our leggings are one of our more popular items. Hey, we sell comfy clothes. What's more comfortable than leggings? I don't know. I've never worn a pair of leggings myself, but I can imagine, how good it would feel.
I thought you were wearing leggings. You wouldn't ever been able to tell.
Okay, I secretly have them on underneath my chinos right now. But we saw in the reviews feedback around the leggings, and people were saying, hey, these are great, but do you have any that are cut a little bit shorter? Do you have any that are in more of the shape of a biker short? And we were able to pivot quickly to offer that. Another example is one of our most popular items is a curved hem sweater. And it's this really great sweater. It's on the site right now, UpWest.com. If you go to New Arrivals for Women, you can buy it today. Shameless plug. But for us, it's one of those classic silhouettes. It really made a high quality material. And really for us, it is, okay, how do we make this thing even better? We're always looking to grow, looking to optimize. And we were hearing feedback from our customer last year that it was a little big, that it was meant to be oversized, but it was almost a little too oversized. And so we took that back to the merchandising team, the product team, the tech team, production and sourcing, all of the folks who are working hard to make our product great. We just get to make the product look good. They're the ones who are working hard to bring it to life. And we said, hey, this is what we're hearing. We're hearing 700, 800 women saying, hey, this is a little too boxy for me. And they actually reworked the grading on it. So this year, the product is a little more true to size. And so to us, that helps in two ways. One is it delights our customers, which we love. And then secondly, it helps in terms of returns. We never want to see a return come back because it didn't fit. That's kind of a classic challenge that online retailers have. But for us, the feedback loop that we were able to give to the design team to optimize was really, really important.
Yeah, and I think like your mention of returns obviously is such a such a huge play on like the sustainability efforts as well, right? The impact of just like even returning an item, right? Thinking about the shipping costs and like the way to put it back into inventory, all of that. I think it really does speak to, once again, UpWest's mission of providing a more sustainable, brand and product for your customers to shop with, right? So that's great to hear.
Absolutely.
Cool. So then with that, looks like you have gotten a lot of good feedback from your customers. There's a lot to look forward to. Seeing that 2022 is really right around the corner, and we're right after the 2-year mark, right, for UpWest. If you had to describe your marketing plans in one sentence, or maybe a quick little elevator pitch, what would it be?
Oh, an elevator pitch. I actually have a 35-page deck I'd like to share. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. All right, let me grab a coffee and you can start.
Yeah, we'll take a quick bio break and come back. No, really, okay, one sentence. Let's try this. I think it's to lean into authenticity and to really ratchet up and double down on our values. And I've always thought of, okay, that's my one sentence. So we'll check that box.
And let's dive into
that. Great, gold star for that one. But really, for me, the way we bring that to life, I've always thought of marketing like Velcro. And the more hooks that you have, the more it's going to stick with someone. And what starts to happen is when you build a marketing plan based on shared values with the consumer, those hooks are much bigger. It's not just, hey, this is cute. Hey, this is nice. Hey, I'll look good in this, right? It's not the skin deep stuff. It's, hey, we're planning to give more to those in need. We're starting to open some stores in some of our key markets. So that's not necessarily a marketing plan, but I do kind of see those as kind of really expensive billboards where we can, have a permanent location. And one thing we've been doing when we open up a store, that the weekend that we open a store, we give 100% of proceeds to a local charity. And it's just things like that we want to keep adding and adding. And same with our sustainability efforts. We've started to use recycled poly bags for all of our online orders. We've gone paperless with our receipts in stores. So again, just make, as we grow and as we expand, really making the choices to progress. The other thing that I'll share is that all of the efforts around people and around planet, and we've really summed those up into a marketing phrase, which is comfort for good. And it's meant to be a double entendre. It's meant to say, hey, look, it's comfort for good, like, hey, for good, but also, hey, it's for a good cause. And really, it's our commitment to people and planet. And when we look back, we all have to work a job. You all have to live a life. We all have bills to pay. But we said, you know what? We have a chance to build a brand that's based on values that we believe in, that we believe that the world is going in. And the clock's ticking on a lot of these things, right? With a lot of the world issues, a lot of issues in the US, a lot of climate issues. So we're saying, hey, what's within our power to do? What choices can we make? And when you strip everything away, it really is just people and planet. And what else do we have to work for? So we want to make the right choices there.
Right. And I think it's really nice to keep on hearing that. It's really chipping away, right? It's constant progress towards, maybe something higher, not so much perfection, right? Because that's probably unattainable, but how can we be better as people and, really care for the planet that, we all love and rely on. So that's great to hear. So then with that, what are some trends that you see on the horizon for next year and that UpWest is getting ready for?
Yeah, I think for us, from an apparel standpoint, from a product offering, really the trends we're leaning into are versatility. We believe versatility is sustainability. Imagine if you have a garment that you can wear to work out in, or also wear to go to the grocery store. So that we're looking into things like that, and also really looking at ways to meet our customer where he is. And so we're finding a lot of our customers are in larger cities and bigger markets. And so we're saying, hey, how do we show up there in a physical way, whether it's a store or an experience? How can we really be a partner there? The other trend that we're seeing is some kind of old school methods coming forward from a marketing standpoint. So if you think about the last, I don't know, 5, 7, 10 years, digital has been such an important piece of the puzzle. I can remember when I started my career, we had a digital department, or at one point I worked at a digital advertising agency. Now digital is so central to everything. What started to happen though is with the Mark Zuckerberg, Tim Cook stuff, with iOS 14 coming out, there's been a challenge, and it's been more costly to do business from a digital standpoint. And so for us, we're looking at things like direct mail, looking at more catalogs, looking at some out of home, things that you would think, hey, these have been around for 100 years, but they actually, in a weird way, they have a little more breakthrough power because they're not just another email, or another text. The other thing that I'll share is from a trend standpoint. I mentioned values-driven brands, and I really believe that you have to stand for something as a brand, and that if you're not standing for something today, that you won't be standing in the future at all. And so I think that's the other trend. Whether it's leadership at Procter and Gamble or leadership at other global companies, you're hearing this drumbeat of it's time that we take a stand for bigger issues in the world, and not just stand for product.
So it sounds like UpWest is maybe ahead of the trend, on trend for 2022.
I hope so. So. We also got to cheat a little bit because we launched in 2019, 2020. So a lot of other brands may have been around for 20, 30, 40 years and are trying to reinvent themselves. Right. We had the luxury of saying, hey, we're new here. Who do we want to be? A little bit like Tom's, a little bit like Patagonia, a little bit like this, a little bit like that. So it's been really great to be able to, I think, really pour our souls into the brand. And I think you can see that with the product, with the programs that we run, and kind of where we want to go.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's, if you think about the timing too, right? The comfort for good, right? If you think about what is it that most of us wore over the last, 12 to 18 months, comfy clothes, right? We're here indoors. If you're in the cold, like in New York, like I am, we're wearing comfy sweaters, comfy leggings, right? And then when it transition, maybe, the bike shorts. And so it really does seem like everything's coming together, and UpWest is really trying to listen to your customers while also pushing forward this mission of being more sustainable and really creating something to improve the world, right? And like the livelihood of people. And so that's great. So then to kind of wrap this up, I think it's like always a little cheesy, but we'd love to hear some of the moments that you've had with customers that kind of really reinforce the mission and all of the work and the programs that you are doing at UpWest. And so, love to hear maybe some of the things that stand out to you as I ask you this question.
Yeah, there's a couple of moments, when you're starting a brand from scratch. I mean, we worked behind the scenes for about a year before we launched the brand. And so there's a lot of work and effort, and you kind of have a preconceived notion of what it will feel like to go into the market and introduce this. And then you do it and it's completely different, but completely awesome and terrifying and exciting and all of those things together. And what's been a joy is to have some of these personal stories. So I'm going to share a couple of them. One is we had someone reach out to us and say, you know what, I love what you guys do, and I want to really surprise my wife with this, but money's a little tight right now. This person had lost their job. And so we say, you know what, come and be a part of what we're doing. Here are some free clothes. And for us, I mean, look, we make clothes for a living. So we've got a few things left over that we can work with. The other kind of customer story that really sticks out to me is, when you first start a business, you're tracking every single sale, every single transaction. And we're on Shopify. And so we had the Shopify app, and it used to go off and make, like, I'm not even kidding, like a cha-ching sound with every transaction. We got our first sale, we got our second, and about like 3 or 4 days in, we're like, okay, this is annoying. But at a certain point, you kind of are like, hey, we're kind of cruising now. It takes a lot of rocket fuel to get into orbit, but kind of once you're in orbit, you feel like, okay, we've got our rhythms down, and we've got our program down. And so it was about, we had about 9,000, almost close to 10,000 customers. And we were in a planning meeting, and we pulled up Shopify to look at some data. And I'm looking at the 10,000th customer, and I recognize the name. It was my dad. And I'm like, of all the people to be the 10,000th customer, I'm like, Dad, you got yourself some Fireside Fleece pants? I see you. And it's funny, I texted him, and I was like, hey, you're the 10,000th customer. And you know what he said back? He said, what do I win? I think he was picturing like balloons falling, or like.
Should have played like the cha-ching sound.
Yes.
And be like, this is what you win. Lifetime.
Exactly.
Every time you see
That's right. So that was a fun one. Then the last customer story I'll share is, as you get a new brand out there, people you can see through the reviews, you can see through customer feedback that customers are excited, that they're enjoying the product. But the first time I saw UpWest in the wild was really cool. So I was at a restaurant, and this guy walked by, and he was kind of head to toe in UpWest. And I tried to play it cool. I was like, hey, what's up, man? I was like, and this guys don't really talk about their clothes anyway.
Right. I was like, I was thinking of you. I just like had envisioned that you coming up like, hey man, like what's going on? And the guy's probably, I don't know if he was like at the table already eating.
Yeah.
He was like,
Yeah. He was walking by my table, and I was like, hey, can I ask you a question? He's like, yeah. And I was like, where did you get your outfit? And he's like, oh, it's this new brand called UpWest. And I'm like, oh, really? That's so cool. Tell me more. How is their marketing? Is it good? No. But of course I wanted to know, how did you find out about the brand? And I did my own little survey, but it was just cool to see it in the wild, to see someone wearing it, enjoying the product. So that was really a special moment.
That's really awesome. And hopefully the guy did you introduce yourself afterwards? And did you walk away with him thinking, wow, this guy must be loving my outfit? And you left
it was already too awkward. I didn't want to push it any further. I was like, hey, let me introduce you to my dad. He loves UpWest too. No, I was kidding.
And then you play the cha-ching sound.
I did play the cha-ching sound for him. I definitely did that.
Awesome. Well, we're going to wrap up here, but is there anything else that you wanted to share as it relates to, UpWest, the mission, and really the comfort for good kind of like mantra that you have here, and, looking forward to 2022?
Yeah, I think for us, it's really an exercise in saying, how can we do more? And, I think it's easy these days to really sit back and say, how can we play it safe? There's a lot of, we're wading in some tricky waters, when it comes to some of the conversations we're a part of, when it comes to some of the comfort we're providing to those in need. It's not all glossy. And I think for us, it's about a matter of saying, what legacy do we want to leave, and what legacy do we want to leave? When we retire one day from UpWest, I want to be able to look back and say, we did right by people and planet. We did the right thing. So it's a matter of each day getting better there. And I think for us, it's about putting out a quality product that we're proud of. Something that, I know the design team, the merchandising team, production and sourcing, the tech team, everyone, the marketing team, we're a pretty small company. We're all working working really hard. But to really come up for some air and say, okay, are we building something here that's going to last, that has lasting power? And I truly believe we are. So I think I'm just grateful to be a part of the journey, and just encourage folks to check out UpWest, upwest.com, and get yourself some comfy clothes and enjoy going up west.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Luke, and for sharing your insight with our audience. And thank you so much for everyone who tuned in today. So for everyone who joined us, before you go, we'll be sending a full recording of today's event via email, as well as a request to rate today's event. All about those surveys and customer feedback. We really appreciate it if you could take just a few minutes to fill it out so we can continue to bring you the best content and best speakers. Second, we'll be announcing details, including the topic and speakers for our next event very, very soon. So please make sure to stay tuned. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Thanks, Luke. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.